谢谢谢总热情的演讲。那么今天的话，由于航班的原因，我们那个亚洲食品工业协会的那个 Platon 就是他是应该得到下午才能到，所以的话，下面我们的话就要邀请我们下一位嘉宾，我们来自巴西的BBOSS 公司的首席执行官埃德尔多 Platon 先生来演讲。那么今年的话，我们非常高兴，就是国际船协会我们在巴西也有了新的合作伙伴、新的分支。那么也希望就是我们巴西这个团队能做得越来越好，跟我们中国团队形成一个好的互动和对接。我们热情的邀请我们埃德尔多布莱顿先生演讲。
Thank you so much for having me here today. My name is Eduardo. I come from Brazil. And let me tell you, this was a long, long flight to be here. You're going to see here half of my brain working today because the other half is still sleeping. But I'm very glad to be here with you all. I'm representing here a company called BBOSS. That's the Brazil Business One-Stop Shop. And I've been in China before. I've been in China 7 years ago. It was a wonderful experience to be here 7 years ago. And I had a chance to visit cities like Xi'an, Shenzhen, Macau, Beijing, Hong Kong. And 7 years later, I see how much growth China has experienced. I'm really impressed to see with my real eyes what is happening in this country. I don't know if you folks know about this, but the Brazilian media, it's really fond of China as well. We are getting a lot of attention coming from the major networks in Brazil. And China is becoming more and more popular in Brazil. And I have a presentation here with 24 slides. And maybe you're going to see why China is becoming more popular in Brazil. Well, I have divided my presentation in 4 different chapters. The first chapter, I'm gonna talk about a little bit about the country basic data. I think it's important to understand a little bit about Brazil, what is happening in Brazil nowadays. The second part of my speech is about Brazil food safety model. I'm going to spend some time talking about what is our model, what are our main agencies, and also we have the third chapter that is human resources and research and development, what we have done so far, and I'm positive that we are here to exchange the Brazilian model influence somehow the Chinese model get influenced by the Brazilian model, and together we can build something special and really get more attention coming from different players in the marketplace. And the last part is it's about challenges and opportunities. I'm coming from a different region in the country. It's a region that has a reputation of being a poor region in Brazil. It's the Northeast region. But the poor regions, sometimes they have a lot of potential, and they are getting a lot of investment and FDIs coming from different countries. And nowadays, this region that I'm going to spend some time covering, it's the fast growing region in the country. Well, we have here a map of the BRICS countries. And as you can see, we have Brazil with our currency, South Africa, India, China, and Russia. And I think this is a pretty interesting map to see because out of the 5 countries that are part of the BRICS now, since we have South Africa, Brazil is the only one in South America. And then we have Africa. South Africa is the only country in Africa. So as a strategy of diversifying FDIs and trying to invest some resources in the Americas, Brazil, it's an interesting spot to consider. And well, I bring here some information too, because I'm such a true believer of the relationship between China and Brazil. Since 2009, China became the #1 trade partner with Brazil. So the #1 trade partner nowadays is China, and the #2 is the United States. Okay, it's a really interesting piece of information. The bilateral trade between these two countries grew from 6.7 billion in 2003, 36.7 billion in 2009. And folks, let me say this, it keeps growing. Okay? Well, that's an interesting photo. I like this photo a lot because I don't know how much you have on Brazil nowadays, but Brazil is divided in 5 different regions. Okay? I put here different colors so it makes it easy for everybody to see. We have the north in green. That is where we have all the water reserves, all the biodiversity that is happening in the country. I don't know if you know this, Brazil is the #1 country in biodiversity, Colombia is #2, and China is #3. But if you take the tropical countries out of these analysis, China is #1. Okay, in terms of biodiversity, just an interesting piece of information. On the second area, we have the Midwest in blue, where we have the big farms. A lot of activity happening there, a lot of agribusiness happening there. Also, the blue spot is where we have our capital. In Brazil is Brasilia. That would be a sister city to Beijing and Washington, D.C. in the United States. We have in the south, the red color, where the Europeans, most of the Europeans went there after World War II. So it's an interesting piece of the country. A lot of development, a lot of service sector initiatives happening in that part of the country. And then we have in yellow, the southeast. And that's where most of the transactions in the country is happening nowadays. That's what I call the traditional business hub of Brazil. Well, folks, I have some news for you. And the news is that we have a new business hub. Okay, I hope I'm the first one, Rick, to make this information visible. But this is the northeast region. And that's the region you see in orange over there. And that's a region that has 9 states out of 27. And that's the fast growing region in the country. Okay? And I'm calling that, very proudly, the China of Brazil. Okay? Well, some basic data. I think it's interesting to see this information so we can have a better understanding of what is Brazil all about. Brazil is part of the BRICS group with Russia, India, China, and South Africa. We are also part of the G20 alliance. We are regional leader in South America. Brazil's economy is about half of the Latin America economy. We have one of the most effective FDI destinations in that region. The GDP in 2010 was 7.5. We have 8.3 million square kilometers. 191 million people live in the country. Now should be about almost 200 million. The second largest ATM market. The third largest market for computers, beauty, and healthcare products. Brazilians really appreciate beauty and healthcare products. So that's a wonderful market for our Chinese friends. It's the 4th largest market worldwide for mobile phones, mobile vehicles, and TVs. Okay? Well, let me share something. We are really fond of renewable energy. Most of our energy mix, the matrix in the country, is based on hydropower, and now we are using a lot of biofuels. I don't know if you folks know this. We have a technology that's called the flex fuel technology, where most cars in Brazil, I would say most cars, 90% up, run on either gas, ethanol, or both. Okay? And now what we are doing, we're developing a technology for diesel. So we're going to have biodiesel. And we're going to have our cargo and our trucks and a lot of transportation equipment using biodiesel. Okay? Well, one more piece of information. Brazil has 12% of fresh water worldwide. This is an interesting piece of information. Some people say that Brazil is the Saudi Arabia of water. They have 12% of oil, that's what he said. We have 12% of water. Agribusiness reputation, very strong. That's almost a natural inclination for Brazil. We have a lot of developments on agribusiness. A lot of land still available for farming, agribusiness developments. And people there, they really want to see more activity happening at this end. And last but not least, we have one of the greatest biodiversity, groups of in the country, in the world, and also it's a benchmark for production of biofuels. Well, with that, I painted a pretty straightforward picture of what is Brazil nowadays in 2014. I'm not saying everything is flowers, but the country is certainly developing and growing in a very interesting pace. Now I move to the second chapter, that is Brazilian food safety, the regulatory framework. Well, folks, let me introduce you to Anvisa. Anvisa is the National Health Surveillance Agency that is a regulatory body of the Brazilian government. So it's Brazilian government based, and it's pretty much the same role that the US FDA plays. We have a body of Anvisa. It's an independently administered, financially autonomous regulatory agency, and the directors, 5 of them, they have a tenure, and they get to stay for the period of their tenures in order to create some stability in the organization. And the agency is managed by a collegiate board of directors, as I just said, comprised of 5 members. Well, I was doing my research and trying to understand the Chinese market, because one of the reasons I'm here is because I'm really curious about how we can bridge these opportunities together, how we can bring China and Brazil together, how we can leverage opportunities. And I found out that the Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention is pretty close to what Anvisa does. And we have a focus on national attention on disease prevention and control, environmental health, occupation safety and health, health promotion and prevention, health education activities, and the goal is to improve, right, the health of the Brazilian population. That's the overall goal of this institution. Well, this is like an inspection at work, just to give you a small view of how things happen there. In the orange side, you have the necessary action to conduct an inspection. On the green side, you have the mandatory action. That's pretty much what happens. In order to conduct an inspection, you have to get the license of environmental protection. You have to identify if the products are commercialized or non-commercialized. You need to provide the IFA and the construction layout. You have to come up with the responsibility and work personnel chart on the necessary action component. On the other component, you have to need a technician expert doing inspection, documentation of technical approval, of course, operating license, evidence of product registration. Well, I like this slide a lot because that tells that food safety regulation in Brazil is pooling resources from several different agencies because it's a controversial issue that affects a lot of sectors and industries in Brazil. We have 3 of them here, and I'm going to show some more so we can have a small picture of what is the framework in Brazil. We have SNAT, that is part of the Ministry of Agriculture, and SNAT handles inspection of produce, manufactured food and feed products, and beverages. So this is one component, one agency. We have INMetro, That's the Brazilian Institute of Metrology. And among the other activities, they coordinate the interface with the Codex Alimentarius Commission in close cooperation with Anvisa and SNAP. And then again, we have Anvisa. That's the health surveillance agency, the main one, that takes care of issues under the Ministry of Health. That's the equivalent to the FDA. Well, and that comes the role of the Ministry of Agriculture. Set standards and implementation procedures to ensure compliance with national and international standards for livestock and F&B, fruits and vegetables, value-added products and warehousing. And also, it conducts periodic mandatory inspections, assessments, audits, and administers fiscal measures relative to these sectors. And then we have all these supporting agencies and structures and departments that are like supporting system for the main agencies. One of them is CGI, the General Inspection Division, within DPOA. That's the Department of Inspection of Animal Origin Produce. And they focus pretty much on pathogen and disease control. They coordinate and train federal agents, veterinarians, and inspection agents with jurisdiction over warehousing, feed processing, and related industries. Routine and random industrial plant audits. That's what they do. We also have this one, VG Agro. Okay, that's my Portuguese coming out now. That is an international surveillance system under the Security Department that has the responsibility for fresh produce and inspections. Inspection and export certifications of vegetable produce require the approval of the National Organization for Phytosanitary Protection on the destination of the country. And that's an important piece of information. The Ministry of Agriculture is the sole authority in Brazil to issue permits for export or import of fresh fruits and vegetables. And then we have that information, food consumables in the domestic market are subject to additional regulations. In the domestic market, food consumables in the domestic market are subject to additional regulations. Well, human resources and research and development, that's the third part of my speech, the third chapter. That's one thing that we are paying a lot of attention these days because, as we say, the Brazilian food safety model is pay attention to the role of consumer education and acculturation, to the importance of food safety and quality linked to human health and welfare priorities. It's becoming more and more part of the university curriculum. A lot of universities are offering courses now on food safety, and we have undergrad and graduate level classes on food safety. And we are using short-term training and also comprehensive programs on that. And we have one organization that is taking the lead nowadays that is called LabsCons. And LabsCons, it's a leader in food safety in Brazil. And LabsCons stands for Laboratory of Urban Life Consumption and Public Health. And that is based in the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. That's the top university in the country. Well, that's a photo of Public Expo on food safety in Rio. They are doing a lot of these, I call community engagement and events to make the team food safety more popular in the university campus, so more and more Brazilians can work on these fields. And this is a little bit about the organization itself. It was created in the 1990s and educates and research matters related to the food safety with special attention to national and international legislation. Offered courses in the undergrad majors, such as pharmacy, via the internet as well, for professionals. And here we have some topics that LabsCons is researching and making more visible. Some of them: identity and regulation of food labeling, public perception of identity and quality of food, labeling, advertising and health surveillance, regulatory process in nutrition products, beauty and health, science and food ingredient, broadcast technologies for schools and consumers, and evaluation of public policies and food security interventions. Well, and this is some more information about this lab. I highly recommend to research this online. They have a website, and all the information that, all the results that they come up, they put on the website, so it's accessible to all. And this some education extension courses that they make available: food labeling with special diets, children's food labeling, course on food sciences applied to gastronomy, stroke risk prevention and toxic infected retail foods, and labeling of food from genetic. And then I have here two examples. I think it's good to see something that they do in real life. And that's what they have done, influencing these two companies to come up with better labels, superior labels, to not only educate the consumers itself, but the industry. And we have the example of Chiclets and Soya. That's a brand of Bunge. That's one of the biggest agribusiness also in Brazil. Well, and that comes the interesting part, the challenges and opportunities, right? We have a snapshot of Brazil. Quick, I just have 20 minutes. We have a snapshot of the framework, the main agencies, what they do, and then comes what we can do with that information. And then we have the emphasis in Brazil on the supply side and demand side. And that, it's pretty much telling how much Brazil is valuing agriculture, its development, and moving forward as a country. It's a top priority. And as Rick mentioned before, the state of Bahia, that's part of the Northeast region, it's taking a lot of effort, investing a lot of resources to position itself as a leading state in the country. And this state, where our company is based at, it's a leader, it's a national leader in the production of tropical fruits, hard fiber, cocoa, guarana, castor bean, fruits of animals, goats, donkeys, and mules, and also qualifies as the next export of beef, goat meat, and poultry. And that's interesting because it's such a big state that it's the size of France. That would be a good comparison. The state of Bahia in Brazil is the same size of France and has a very diversified business investment opportunity. And we have a lot of products in soybeans, cotton, coffee, wheat, planted wood, and other agro-based industries. And that's an interesting piece of information, talking about real numbers. The Brazilians' exports closed in 2011 at 256 billion. And you see that we see an increase in the trade amount from 2010 to 2011, and that number continues to grow from that year to the present moment. And another piece of important information is the sales to Asia that grew tremendously, not only to China, but to other countries in Asia. But China remains the top one trade partner. And you can see a 36.3 increase. Well, as I said before, not everything is flowers. We have challenges and we have opportunities. One of the challenges that we face nowadays is that we have the Chinese product in Brazil. And a lot of the products is what we call empty fields. A lot of Chinese groups are buying a lot of land in Brazil, and they wait in order to advance the product. That's one point. We have done some investigation, and we have found that 2/3 of Chinese products in Brazil are facing delays and never get off the ground. Another challenge. Well, we have a group, the Chongqing Group, that it has a plan to invest 4 billion in the state of Bahia by itself, in the soy agribusiness. And the project's moving forward, but it's moving slowly. Now, looking at the bright side, the good side, we have places like the Bahia Farm Show with the fast-growing city in Brazil that's called the city of Luiz Eduardo Magalhães. We call it LAM. This trade show by itself is generating 1 billion reais in business transactions in 3 days or 4 days. Just one small point in the state. And we see as a trend to reverse the challenge that we face, more dialogue with China. That's what we need in order to overcome these obstacles. We need to have more dialogue with China food safety regulatory system. That's something that we believe that should improve the process. Well, this is my last slide, and I just want to say this. That's the way we see it as a private company that will harmonize local and global requirements. Food safety, public and private organizations are working together on the development of new food safety collaborative platforms, including 3 initiatives. The first one is the Global Harmonization Initiative that's bringing together the leadership of the Institute of Food Technology, the European Federation of Food Science and Technology together. That's number 1. Number 2, as a positive thing, the International Food Safety Authorities Network, InfoZone, created by the World Health Organization in close cooperation with the Food Agriculture Organization, FAO. And by the way, the new head of FAO is a Brazilian gentleman called Graziano. He was head of Brazilian food safety developments back in the government of President Lula, and now he's leading the FAO in the United Nations. And as you can see, each and every country has a focal point of contact for emergency and rapid communication for national authorities on food safety and InfoZone. And then we cannot forget the important role that GFSF is playing in really linking and bridging the gaps. And then, as we can see here, the Global Food Safety Forum, as a strategic partner with the GFSF, assume a leadership role in B2B food safety, collaborating between Brazilian and Chinese companies, and in promoting compatibility in regulatory food safety systems worldwide. Folks, I just want to say this, we are truly hopeful that putting our heads together, Chinese companies and Brazilian companies can really reach a new level of food safety. Thank you very much.